First smoke of the day, surfsup exotics. You know where we're at. Come on now, Houston, Texas, bro. Fresca Love, fire spot. If you're in Houston, you gotta come here, check out Fresca Love, and you gotta hunt down some surfsup exotics. I'm smoking on the vitamin Z. That's the next one. Been on the permanent waves. We've been on that in Cali. You guys already know about that. We've been.
Yo, what's good, everybody? We're back with another episode. It's First Smoke of the Day. It's your boy Pat Guys in the building. Here with my co-host Blackleaf as always.
Big H-Town.
And we're in Houston, Texas with this one today, man. Shout out to Fresca Love in here hosting us. And we got my man Elliot from Surfsup Exotics. Came in here to drop it.
What's good, man?
My man's got a hell of a story, and it's dope to see you living out your brand, man.
Thank you, brother. It's been a long journey, so you know what I mean? It's kind of like we're in this new era. It's time to put a little face to it. You know what I mean? I've always kept it hush-hush, but now it's the first time I'm telling my tale. So, you know, what better platform?
Got to be on the First Smoke.
Got it.
The only way.
I watch it all the time. We got the boys watching all the time. You know what I mean? Every grower is like watching this shit, just going, man, that's crazy. Like they're telling that shit. We're told not to tell.
It's crazy. You know, times have definitely changed, and it's just like anything. A lot of the biggest brands that we're fans of as people, we're fans of the people behind them.
Yeah,
the founder story, the actual founder. That's who's fascinating. You know,
exactly.
When you think Tesla, you think Elon Musk.
Exactly.
You think Amazon, you think Jeff Bezos. You know what I'm saying? And I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Nike, Phil Knight. You know what I mean? And like all these guys that are just savages. UFC, you think Dana White. You know,
man, Steve Jobs.
You could just keep going on and on and on, right? And it's why people that have a strong personality and a strong presence, their brands typically do well because it resonates with a lot of people.
100%, man. It's all just a reflection from the top down. You know what I mean? And in any business, really, it's like, how's it being run? It's like the top down. Usually there's some sort of chain of command. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like for so long, I just basically just been grinding on my own. You know what I mean? We have a team now. So I'm able to actually get out. So shout out to the team. You know what I mean? Without them, I can't even be sitting here. I'm stuck in the grow. You know what I mean?
That's the evolution of it all as well. And it's cool that this now is real business.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have a team. You can step out. You can scale up. You can, man, have multiple locations.
It's all kind of like new, you know, for me. I grew up in North Carolina. So like when I was a kid, like we didn't have this as an option. You know what I mean? This was never like a part of like the job references at school. What do you want to do when you're older? You want to be a grower? You want to grow weed? Like that's never an option for me. So everything now is just a blessing. Like, you know what I mean? Because I never thought it would actually get to this point in my lifetime, but here we are. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, even out here in Texas. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. You pulled up to the event, and we appreciate you, rocking with us and meeting up with us on this tour out here in Houston right now at the Houston stop.
Houston's big, man.
It's dope, man, to be able to connect with the culture and just come through, smoke with everybody, shake hands, meet people, and put a face to a name and link up in person. It definitely like elevates the relationships and lets you take things to the next level. So we appreciate you coming and rocking with us, man.
Hey, man, thanks for coming through here too. Like, I mean, I'm sure like, the people love just having, people from Cali that have been in it and showing them the way. So it's an appreciation all around.
We're all chasing dreams. Mm-hmm. A lot of us have had to relocate from where we're originally reigning from, and
political
Cali
refugees
seems to be the melting pot. LA is the mecca still to this day for cannabis culture. Yeah,
man. I mean, that's where I had always kind of planned to, with the weed journey, I got to get out to Cali. Everybody, I feel like, I got to get out to Cali if you're not from there, especially on the East Coast. It's a long flight. So trying to figure out the whole thing just to like get your stuff. You know what I mean? That's a big part of the journey for a lot of people. But I was blessed. I was blessed with some older cats that were already like figured it out. You know what I mean? At a young age, they kind of like showed me the way. You know what I mean? So shout out to the old
in North Carolina, because I know you wanted to shed some light on the Outer Banks I think the most people know about the Outer Banks is the show.
There's a Netflix show, you know what I mean?
Right?
And it's kind of similar, but it was actually, that was filmed in South Carolina. But
shit,
you know,
don't ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, the pirate tales and stuff are real. Like, just know that, you know what I mean?
Wow.
There's definitely kooks. I think they have some people in the show called kooks. Like, the kooks are the people that kind of like the Chads and Brads of the industry. They come into the surf world and they're not really part of the culture. You know what I mean? They're the weekend warriors and such, and they just come in and they kind of get in the way and cause problems. You know what I mean? Just always that type of person in life. And we definitely use that terminology on the Outer Banks, but not like the show. You know what I mean? So the show is kind of like caused a lot of tourism, more exposure from that, which is cool. You know, all my family and stuff are still there. So like, it's a big part of who I am and where I grew up, because you got to understand, it's a little island. It's basically a little sand island off the coast, right on the border of Virginia. So Virginia Beach is like our closest city, Norfolk, Virginia. Shout out to the whole 757, man. Because like, that was a big part of growing up there. If you wanted to do anything, you wanted to go get some shoes, you had to drive to Virginia, bro. It was about an hour. You know what I mean? There's like a few shops when I was a kid. That was about it. So you had to go up to Virginia and you had to figure out what was going on, because it was a whole different environment. You know what I mean?
Do you think that the weed scene's big in North Carolina because the surf scene's big too on Outer Banks?
On the Outer Banks, the weed and the surf definitely go hand in hand for sure. Like, there's definitely a big part of surf culture, which goes back a ways. You know what I mean? If we can touch on that for a second, this is like, surfers really have brought a lot of genetics into the game, you know, from traveling, finding waves in like Thailand and Indonesia and Hawaii, and going to different places and bringing back these genetics, because they got a surfboard, they got a bunch of stuff. It's easy to pop some seeds somewhere and kind of get it where you needed to go. And surfers weren't really trying to work. They were never really trying to work too much. They were always just trying to surf. And you never know when the waves are going to be good, so you can't have a normal job. So these people, you know, they kind of like knew at an early stage in the weed game, like, hey, the key is these genetics. And they started taking it around. And somehow this shit got, you know, we grew up with, it was called the Virginia Beach Ganny. And that Virginia Beach Ganny was, you know, the mythical tales where like some surfers from Hawaii came to Virginia Beach or came back from Hawaii or something and had this Virginia Beach Ganny, which made no sense to have some Ganny from Hawaii, but that's what happened.
That's a weed legend. That's what it's about. It's about the mystery.
Yeah, and this shit smelled like Durban poison, kind of like, but it had some like gas and some funk to it. But it was the most heaviest indica ever. And like, in our area, that was a big deal. Like, if you could find the Ganny in the early 2000s, you know, late 90s, you were the man. Like, you had the best shit on the whole, on the island, you know what I mean, in the city.
Out here in the Outer Banks looking for some Ganny.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Did you guys get Crippie up there?
See, that's the thing. The surfers always had the Crippie bud.
Because any Crippie I got my early days was for the surfer homies.
Exactly. And it was from
all the white
Florida. We knew it was like some guys we did from Melbourne, Florida, Cocoa Beach, Florida. You know what I'm saying? They would always have the right shit.
Brevard, baby.
Yeah.
Hey.
They would always have the right shit. And it was something like before OG, before like people were really aware of like these certain attributes the terps we're looking for.
It was almost before BC Bo was flooding in.
Exactly.
Like Crippie was it. Like you either had Reggie or Crippie.
There was BC around that time, but no, we didn't want the BC. We didn't want to smoke it, you know?
Nah.
But
you'd get some interesting batches and some shit here and there, but it had nothing on the Crippie. The Crippie's homegrown, fresh, sticky, orange hairs, lime green, fire.
Exactly.
And it was all the surfer homies.
Surfer homies had it, and it was a nice high to it. And like, this, I don't know, maybe it made you want to go surf more or something.
They used to call a variation of it surfer's crack.
Yeah, that's
and that was my shit. Like you could get some of that. That was popping.
Bro, that's the thing. Surfers still call it Crip a lot of times. In Hawaii, Puerto Rico, everywhere I've been, they're like, yo, you got the Crip? Like, oh, he got the Crip, bro. And that's how they just describe like good weed, you know, like the chronic or whatever. Exactly. So like, that's kind of how we grew up talking and learning like high times, like the little forums online. Once that was happening, we were just like kind of tuned in through a friend's older brother who was already like kind of dialed in, learning how to grow. gave us a couple clones. And in North Carolina, like, it's the worst place to grow outdoor by the beach in North Carolina. Like, it's super humid. The deer are trying to eat it. There's snakes. There's like water moccasins everywhere. And then right when you're ready to harvest, you got hurricane season, and it's just going to come wipe out everything. And it's like, it's not the spot. So we quickly learned maybe we got to take it inside. You know what I mean? It's a little more low key. And the homies had some, you know, a couple lights, and they were just trying shit out. And they basically, it was real early on. He had the blue dream, and he called it the wet dream. And this guy, he would always just be having the shit and crazy yields, you know, before anybody was really dialed into like, oh, blue dream's no good. Like, he had it years and years before that. And this dude was real tight with the band Slightly Stupid, like before they were who they were, you know? It was just like two dudes rocking out, and they call it Slightly Stupid weed sometimes. And so he was like giving us, you know, it was like the Ganny, the Crippie bud sometimes, and you might have some like blueberry, like hydros kind of weed, or some White Widow or some shit like that. But just, I don't know, there was just flavors starting to come around that time, you know? And so all of a sudden, like, you know, this dude, he's like, yo, I'm living in Puerto Rico. In the winter, in the Outer Banks, it's dead. The whole environment, there's no work because this tourist season's up. It's cold. No one wants to go to the beach in the winter. It's kind of like the whole East Coast in the shore, you know? And so basically, like, he's like, yo, I'm going to Puerto Rico. I'm like, I'm coming to Puerto Rico then. Let's check it out. And I was probably like 19 years old. And I was like, I'm going there for the winter. People were like, what do you mean for the winter? Like, you're just going to dip and just live? Like, what are you going to do for work? I'm like, I had a massage therapy degree. So I was a massage therapist at this time. I grew up with like hippie parents. Like, my parents were I grew up in a health food store. In the 80s, like, that was weird in North Carolina. You know what I mean? So like, dude, my mom was a massage therapist too. I had like shaman and healers coming to the house. As a young man, I was just
that's
like
super blessed, man. If you think about it,
I was super blessed,
bro.
Extremely. I was getting blessed
on fucking McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Pepsis and shit.
Exactly.
And then, you know, if you were going to get a massage, they're like, what?
Bro, no one was dialed
in. Dude. Yeah, it'd be some dumb shit.
Oh, I'd get all the jokes at school, like, oh, your mom's giving happy endings. And my last, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Yeah. Bro. And I just
dope though to even just know about shamans and all that. You know, my uncle on my mom's side, he would take us like whenever we would go visit him, they only shop at health food stores.
Yeah.
So I would be like,
dialed in.
You know, just I was sweating, kind of like, man, all the food tastes like shit, you know. But little did I know, he was so ahead of the game, and he raised, you know, my cousins like that. It's all they know. Yeah. So to grow up like that's it's a big blessing, actually.
It was a super blessing, you know what I mean? And my parents were like, they came to California in the West Coast in like the 70s. So they kind of like saw what was going on. Yeah. And they came back and they're like, we're going to do a health food store. And like, my mom's like, I'm going to do massage. And basically, you know, my parents, they split up, but they live close, like 10 minutes. So I got to have both my parents, you know what I mean?
That's dope.
And my family, like my grandma, she's like the legend in the community. You know, she was like the first woman in like politics and in that era, you know, in the 50s and shit. So she was really like supportive of whatever I was trying to do, you know what I mean? And I definitely got like 100% support when I was like, yo, I'm like dedicating my life to weed. Like, you know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, just keep like stay in California. I'm like, do that. And so I just kind of like, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this shit without that whole like upbringing and the family support and the whole like, you know, accepting my path. You know what I mean? I was a healer from a kid with the massage shit. I was doing that for like maybe 8 years. You know what I mean? And as I was doing it, I kind of realized like, man, everybody has cancer. Everybody's getting sick. Have you heard about cannabis? You know what I mean? Yeah. And no one wanted to talk about it back then. But every now and again, people get down on their luck with the cancer and they're like, yo, let's talk, because these pills, this chemo, this shit is not working. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what led me to just like be like, yo, this cannabis shit is what I'm going to put my life work into. Because I was always a healer, but I could only touch one person. I could only help one person at a time. But I realized real quick with this cannabis, I could touch a lot more people. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I was able to really like accept my path, you know what I mean? With the support of my family and shit and friends. And so that kind of like.
So what's it like? You're going down to Puerto Rico, you're 19 years old, and you're going to do massages to survive. How did it end up playing out?
Wow.
Yeah, man. You know, like any 19-year-old, it doesn't play out in your head like it does in real life.
That's the truth. You're doing some whole other shit. You haven't given one massage.
Oh, yeah, bro. I was definitely giving.
They're like, we don't do massages down here.
They're like, you don't speak Spanish, bro.
No.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have the certain license. Like, you can't come over here and work. Like, this is our jobs. Like, you know what I mean? And they didn't pay as much. And it was just not, quickly, it was like, this is not going to work. So my boy was like, you can help me. And he had a brand new boat and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, how's this all working out? And this is when I met, you know, the homie that was the older brother with the wet dream and all that. And basically he was like, yo, or this is how I found out what he was doing, I guess. He was like, yo, we're going to just pop these seeds. I got them already going. We're going to take clones. He had the little closet, you know, clone rig. And he's like, we're just going to put them outside. They're going to flip. It's in the winter in Puerto Rico. It's beautiful climate. Let's just flip them out there. You know what I mean? And everywhere we go surf, he's like, let's put a little patch. You know what I mean? Because we're going to surf real early in the morning. We're surfing like every day at this point. Like, we're just going to drive, bring the nutrients in. We're going to do all that shit. And this motherfucker he did it. And he basically like brought all the nutrients, made us do all the work pretty much. And he's like, get out and go down that path and get this much water to this many plants. And we just like, after a couple months, the shit worked out. And we're just like, oh shit, that wasn't too bad. Like we got like a pound maybe out of like a couple plants. We're like, damn, this shit turned out pretty good for like what was going on in Puerto Rico at that time. That was some good weed. So quickly I was like, man, this is something we could do. Like I like this, you know what I mean?
Damn, bro, you got a dab everywhere we go. It's discreet, it's portable, nobody knows. DrDabber.com. Use the code, get your access now.
How many pounds did you crop, do you think?
I think we had like 4 pounds in like a bunch of different
patches. How many plants was in like each patch?
Probably like maybe like 15 was the most, maybe like 10 to 15.
And nobody found them or anything?
And we just kind of like dig out a little section in these reeds, and the reeds were all tall, and we'd make a little section and just like bring in like 5-gallon jugs with the pre-mixed like advanced hydro or some shit like that, nutrients. And we were just like having fun with it, you know what I mean? It's like a hobby. It wasn't like a job. It was just like, hey, we need some money. Also, we need some weed. And we're out here anyway, every day surfing. Let's figure out a way we can have some fun and make it work. And so all of a sudden, like, we started meeting like some more people. They're like, no, we grow out here too, but inside, you know? And Puerto Rico is an amazing place. You know what I mean? They're very creative people. Like, they'll figure out a way. They're out here on this big island. They got some crazy shit going on where they're not getting the full American benefits, but they're out there. They're part of America. You know what I mean? And so they figure out a way, and they had some indoor setups going even back then. They had like some people growing some pretty good weed. You know what I mean? The surfers will figure it out. They'll find a way every time, you know, because they need it to keep surfing. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about it.
What were some of the strains you were seeing at that time?
This shit called Power Plant.
Yep, that was my first strain I ever grew.
Yeah, bro. Power Plant was like kind of similar to the Ganny, actually. The terps on it was some interesting terps. I remember that. And then we had, at that time, that's when he was getting it was like a white widow and a white shark. The white shark, because we were surfing. We thought that was some funny shit. Let's get the white shark.
You know what? That's crazy. You say that is I was in Colombia maybe in 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Went
to a smoke shop, was like playing cool with the guy. He ended up knowing what Blackleaf was at the time through Instagram. Yeah. So I was like, yo, that's our shit in LA. And he hooked me up with a guy from Humboldt. And that guy was down in Colombia growing white shark tooth.
See, that's some crazy connection.
Fire too. I was like, wow, it took me back.
Because you guys are from the East Coast, so you understand. Like, we're in this similar era. You know what I mean?
Great white shark, white rhino, blue rhino, some of the best strains of all time, in my opinion. Like, all stars. I mean, the stuff you're talking about, like,
very nostalgic to my journey was all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like you say, it's all surfer based.
Yeah,
the names and everything.
Yeah, and shout out to the Dutch for that, man. They were working hard early. We wouldn't have a lot of that stuff without them.
For sure. That's where everyone was getting it.
Yeah.
The seeds and stuff.
Especially international. You know, stuff has always been happening in Cali, and so you're literally surviving by stashing 15 or small batches of plants at each surf spot around PR.
Like at that point, I was like 19. I didn't need that much, right? I had like a little house I had rented. I had some money saved up from doing the massage. And, you know, I had my own business at like 18, basically just doing the massage. I would go to people's houses, bring all the stuff, bring a couple other people with me. We'd have this crazy economy there where it's kind of like the Hamptons in one section. And so that was like, all right, I got my money saved. I was always smart with that. You know what I mean? I didn't have that growing up. So I was like, I need to figure that out, you know, first and foremost. How are we going to get this money? All right, now what are we going to do with it? And so I'd go down there. I try not to just spend it all. So you know, the weed helped, but that wasn't really like a ton of money. But we would fish. So my friend, he was an amazing fisherman. In fact, he's still down there fishing, right? Till this day.
Wow.
Yeah. And he doesn't fuck with the weed no more or anything like that, so we can talk about it. but he's basically he's a great fisherman, man. And so we would go out there. At the time, he wasn't as good of a fisherman because he's young too. He's probably like 24 at the time, something like that. And he was like, we'd go out there and we'd go fish in this brand new boat. A couple white boys in Puerto Rico. The Coast Guard come on the boat. What are you guys doing out here? What are you doing? Tapping on the boat. What's going on? Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding the stash? We're like, what are you talking about? We're like naive, you know. And then they would leave us alone. They'd search everything. Then there would be like the Border Patrol, and they would come and be like, what are you boys doing out here? Like, nice boat, you know what I mean? And like quickly they started to, you know, harass us for a bit and just kind of like tell us like, fuck off. These are like the local fishermen. Like, don't come out here like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so it's like a big thing in surfing and fishing and places in nature, especially that are protected, like sacred spaces. You don't come in with your own attitude and your own agenda. Like, this shit was here before you. It'll be here after you. Like, come with some respect. You know what I mean? I think that's what they're kind of trying to show him. And, but after a while, like, it's all good. You know, they left us alone and stuff. And we weren't doing nothing. Like, we were just fishing. Like, so they basically saw that. But we had all sorts of fish we weren't going to eat. And Puerto Rico didn't really have no licenses or permits. So you just come by and be like, hey, we got some fresh fish today. And they'd be like, shh, the nice restaurants and stuff. Like, give me that wahoo. Like, a wahoo is like some nice choice fish, man. So we grew up on the Outer Banks with like ridiculous seafood. So we're like blessed with that whole thing too, you know? And so we're out there selling fish and trying to figure out how to grow some weed. And so homie would grow like Christmas trees. Like, that was his style. You know what I mean? I would always be like, I don't like that style. Like, let's do a little top, you know, start messing around in the early parts. And you start to get like that little like bush and you're like, oh damn, like we're getting more weight off this style. And he'd be like, oh, I don't like, that's my style. Like, I do it my way. You know what I mean? So you quickly like figure out who's like your grow partner and who's like, not really, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of had our own styles, and that was cool just to experiment and try some shit out. But it was just a hobby. I was still doing the massage was the main thing. And I was back and forth. In the winter, I'd be traveling. In the summer, I would be in North Carolina. So I ended up in the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands had a real relaxed policy at the time. Anybody could just grow a couple plants. They didn't give a fuck. Like, maybe once a year they'd come rounded up if you had too many. But people had like 4 or 5 plants outside. Like, no one really cared. In the north side of the Virgin Islands, like St. Thomas, and beautiful place, man. One of the most beautiful places in the world, in the Caribbean, that era. And so we were like learning how to grow weed indoor at that time, and out a couple of plants outdoor. And I met another like mentor, and this guy, he was basically like half Hawaiian, half American. So he was just funny as shit. He had the pigeon accent. He'd talk with like, hey, brah, you know what I'm saying? Come on, brah, we got to get the kind, you know what I'm saying? So like that whole style started like, you know, coming on, and he was real spiritual dude. He was like into the massage healing world as well. And so he would kind of like put like things into perspective, like what we were really doing. You know, I mean, this plant is like real medicine. This is the truth. Like, this plant is a teacher. You know what I mean? I always remember that. That's the foundation of all this shit. Like, it's a medicine. It's a healing, you know, plant that was put here. We shouldn't fuck with that. You know what I mean? Let it grow to this natural ability. That's always been my belief. So like, when you know, people are like spraying things and doing stuff, to me, that just doesn't seem right. Like, it's good enough as it is. You know what I mean? Because it's a real medicine that came perfect as it is.
How'd you meet this guy?
This dude was, he was also like a massage therapist guy. So the girl I was dating at the time, we worked together too. And so she was like, yo, this guy does this type of work, this body work called Rolfing. And she got me these 12 sessions with this guy. And there's only like 2 schools to teach this Ida Rolf's method of healing. It's like your spine is basically, you know, your connective, your energy's connection. And if you have anything out of whack, it's just not flowing right. So it throws your life out of whack a little bit. You know what I mean? So he was real dialed into this, and he was a grower, and he was teaching me. He's like, hey, I got to leave. And can you watch the plants? And, you know, we started getting cool like that, and we'd surf. And she got me this as like a gift, and it was amazing. Like I started, you know, I was the healthiest I ever been. Like I was just surfing every day, just, you know, traveling, like by foot or bike or something. Not really. It didn't have internet, didn't have cable TV. There was no like cell phone service where I lived, but I could see the waves. I could see the waves where I'd surf. And this place is super beautiful on the north side of St. Thomas. And like the whole crew out there, everyone's got some weed, and like, you know what I mean? It's part of the surf culture. Some guys would ship it, you know, some guys would grow it, and everyone had their little shit, but they would always notice the dude I'm talking about had the best. Like they're like, his energy was just producing the best, you know what I mean? And so this dude, he kind of like gave me like this 12 session Rolfing deal. And it was unbelievable. Like I just, you know, I was just dialed in the surf world, especially. I was like at my best, you know what I mean? And that was basically like the time when I was like, all right, man, I need to like gather some funds and dial into what this guy's doing, because he's living a great life. You know what I mean? I see all these other people living with the weed, but it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a little rough around the edges, a little like just kind of haggard, I would say. And so this dude, he was living like a real nice life, and it wasn't like, you know, flashy. He didn't have, you know, tons of like fancy stuff, but he had some properties, you know what I mean? And I started to realize, man, he was like, tell me like, this is the way you make money. You have to get property and build on it. You have to get something and develop it. You know what I mean? And then you gain value. And so like at a 22 years old, I'm like hearing this information, I'm taking it in. I'm not hanging, like my homies that were my age, they were telling me different stuff. I'm listening to this guy's like 40, and he's like, yo, you want to live like this? This is how you do it. You know what I mean? And I kind of like took that to heart, and I'm like, all right, okay. So I just started working real hard doing the massage shit. I had a thriving business every summer doing that, and just stacking and figuring out the logistic game, and how do we get what my homie had in San Diego over here. You know what I mean? And we figured it out. And so basically everything was going, you know, really smooth. And every summer game would be on. And every winter we'd take a pause and just go travel, go surf, you know what I mean? Go live somewhere else, go do something different, just change it up. And so like, you know, after a while doing that, it was a beautiful life. I had great experiences. I traveled all over the world. Like got to see some really, you know, amazing surf breaks, meet some amazing people, some beautiful women, and just had a great life. But even after that, I was like, this is cool. But what else? What is my real purpose? You know, that healer thing that I always want to figure out. What's my purpose here? And it kind of came to me like, this weed shit just is always on my mind. Like I want to grow. I want to figure out how I can grow more. I want to figure out more about the plant. What other strains could we grow? Just like crazy in your back of your brain, like all the time, trying to get it dialed in. How are we going to do it? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to come back to this time. I'm not going to work on the Outer Banks. I'm going to go to Cali. You know what I mean? And I had this girl at the time, and she was living in New York City. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go visit her. I'm going to chill for 2 weeks in New York, have a good time, and I'm going to go to Cali. I'm going to get my grow on. And while I'm in New York, I'm like, man, let me call my homie. Let's see if we can get something over here. You know what I mean? Sure enough, we had the Girl Scout cookies at the time. So this was like something that, you know, to me, the first time I heard someone call weed, yo, that's some exotic, was in New York City with the Girl Scout cookies. And so we got the Girl Scout cookies there, and it made a big impression. In about 3 days, I was like, I need some more Girl Scout cookies. You know what I mean? At first, I would tell people in New York, I got the Girl Scout cookies. I got sour diesel and I got some Chem Dog or some shit like that. And they'd be like, Girl Scout cookies. I don't like edibles. You know, I don't eat edibles, bro. I'm give me the diesel. I'm like, nah, like if you like diesel, you should try these cookies. Like this shit is tasty. You know what I mean? And this is probably like maybe like 2010 or something like that, 11, something like early days, maybe on the East Coast cookie wave. But in Santa Cruz, that's where we'd always come to California. Santa Cruz always had the strains, man. They had the fire strains. So
also a lot of surfers, man.
And that's why we get San Diego and Santa Cruz were always like the surf go-to spots. So we would just take like trips, go visit, you know, friends, go surf, and then figure out how to, you know, get the logistics of getting everything back.
So how long did you end up staying in New York?
So basically I was trying to go to Cali after 2 weeks, but I ended up staying in New York for about 2 years.
Man, I'm sick of spending so much time going to the store, having to make all these runs and load all this shit up. Yo, what are you doing here?
It's hash making day. I'm always at Grow Generation. If you don't want to have to always go into the store, it's super easy. They deliver 60 plus stores nationwide, delivery right to your doorstep and discreet.
GrowGeneration.com. Use the code, tell them the family sent you, and get hooked up.
So it just, you know, I really like New York. I was like surprised at how much I was liking what was going on at that time.
That's like a vast difference from the Virgin Islands,
yes,
Puerto Rico.
Yes, complete difference. And also I lived in Australia, I lived in all these warm places. I had like an endless summer. I just wanted an endless summer, like that movie. It's an old surf movie. They just traveled and it was always warm, you know? So I tried to live my best to live that life, but it kind of got, I don't know, I wanted to get cold after a while. I wanted to go snowboard. I wanted to do something different. So New York was completely different at the time. And like you had to be careful with the weed, you know what I mean? The Virgin Islands and shit is pretty chill. Puerto Rico is pretty chill with the weed. But not in New York City at the time. Was pretty like, you know, they would do the stop and frisk shit on the subway. Like they definitely just weren't cool with weed and people would get locked up all the time. But, you know, I was just like a tourist, basically, just traveling through the city. Like, to me, it was like a fun land. Like, I was like, wow, look at all these people and all this crazy stuff going on. And it was like, you know, right around the same time as like people started putting like ads on like Craigslist and shit like that. So I remember I had like an ad on Craigslist and this shit just went crazy. Like it went crazy. It just started getting so many orders and everything like that. And eventually I messed up, you know what I mean? I fucked up. I gave it to the wrong person and they just tackled my ass and they just, some random undercover dudes just popped me and got me, you know what I mean? Right in Washington Square Park, where we're all fucking chilling now in 420, having the fucking,
like, everyone's see that hill right there?
Oh my
face
God.
plant with two guys that tackle you.
That was tripping me out. This last year, I was at y'all's event and we were out there at Washington Square Park and just seeing all that shit. It was just like mind blowing. I was like, damn, that's so crazy. Like they just wasted. And even at the time, they were like, we know this is some bullshit. Like they were just like telling me like the weed's gonna be legal soon. Like this is some bullshit, but you know, you got some weed, so you fucked up, kid. Like come with us. And they took me down to the tombs and all that stuff. Anybody that's got arrested for weed in New York, it's just like the protocol, you know? And I stay there and they basically were like, look, kid, it's a get out of jail free card. Like it was basically like, you know, you're white, like you're getting out of here. Like, and I kind of realized I was the only white person in all of the tombs and all of Manhattan the whole weekend. And that shit tripped me out. And I was like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Maybe I wasn't as aware until that point of what was really going on in New York with
they're out there profiling
with the war on drugs. You know what I mean? It was bad. Everyone, I'm like, what do you do? That's the first thing they want to know. What do you do? Like, I had some weed. And they're like, oh, you got some weed? You'll be out of here in no time. You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm like, what are we doing? I didn't pay no money. This is weird. You know what I mean? Why are we doing this?
Explain what the tombs are.
The tombs are like literally like below the earth, you know, and it's like one of the oldest jails apparently. And it's like below the courthouse in like Wall Street, you know, that area. And so anybody who gets arrested in New York City goes to like the central booking unit, and that's the tombs. Like that's where they process like the hardened criminals, the low level shit, but it's like floors below, like 7 floors below the earth or some shit like that. And so you're down there, you're thinking about everything. And I'm like, damn, I'm the only white boy in this whole thing. Like, how could that be? You know what I mean? All weekend, nobody did nothing. You know what I mean? That shit just didn't sit well with me. So the girl I was dating at the time, she was like a civil rights advocate. She worked for this place, the Brennan Justice Center. And she helped write that shit up. You know what I mean? They published it as an anonymous article. And that's why I kind of realized, like, yo, like, the weed is the truth. This shit is what the mentors had told me my whole life. Like, this shit is the truth. You gotta, like, a gift. Like, you should put it out there. You know what I mean? Like, tell people what you saw, because maybe it could help someone change their mind. Because what I saw wasn't right. You know what I mean? That shit didn't sit well. And so anyway, I was like, all right, well, you're going to take me down to the Tombs in New York. And that shit sucked. The crazy part was, like, right when they take me down there, they're like, man, unless you got like a 10-pack or something, like, we don't care about this shit. You know what I mean? Just, you'll be out of here in no time. And the whole time in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I do got a 10-pack coming right now. I'm like, fuck. I'm just thinking the whole shit. And sure enough, there was nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? It was just like this protocol they had to do. They got me, a homeless guy, and a girl that was 9 months pregnant with the old scales. You know what I'm saying? Not the digital scales. Shit you're like hanging mail with. And they took us all down there and wasted all this money and time. And it was just mind blowing. You know what I mean? So the whole time I'm like, what is going on with this thing? I get out, I write this thing. I'm like, man, I have some responsibility with this plant, this path that I've chosen, like, to go out here and just, let's finally get to Cali. Like, let's get to the main goal of what you're looking for. Quit nickel and diamond, wasting time in New York. It was fun. Met a lot of people, saw the delivery side of things, had a great, like, influence of what was going on around that time. Like, around like maybe 2013, weed was starting to get legal, Colorado and Seattle and Washington or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me kind of follow this path, which led me to the Bay, back to Santa Cruz, And I was always living, in Santa Cruz, San Mateo, Hayward, that area. Until a friend, he was one of the guys that we were surfing with in Puerto Rico and stuff. He was like, yo, we're out in this town, Calaveras County. Come check it out. Like, it's like lawless out here. That's basically what they said. It's a promised land for weed growing. Like, you could just do whatever. And we're like, all right, let's check it out. And then we got out there. It was like some cowboy country, like I've never seen in California before. You know what I mean? And it was just some wild journey. Like, I'm like, all right, so this is where we're going to grow weed. I'm back and forth between like Harlem and, this random town in Mountain Ranch, California. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was complete polar opposites, like going from Puerto Rico up to New York. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm able to kind of live that life for whatever reason. But I'm out there in Calaveras County checking it out. My friends cluing me in to like the whole Prop 215, everything like that. And like, this is kind of how it works. You got to get the medical card. And actually, like, we know some people that, their daughter's like a star in the town. Like, she's basically like got off all her meds and she's on CBD and THC, and she stopped having her seizures and all that kind of stuff. And they need somebody to grow for them. All right, let's do that. That's why I'm a healer. Like, you sent me to this path. All right, here's the person we got to work with. Right. And so as that year, we were like, 99 big ones. Like, the first time really we went for it. Right. We got the paperwork, got everything by the book. We were doing 99 plants, and we're out there, and like, man, we had blue dreams still to that day. Still,
it chased you around the globe.
North Carolina, they love that blue dream, man. But basically, we grew these 99 monsters, and about maybe September 11th, I think it was actually September 11th. I had just left. My friends that were up there were like, hey man, there's a wildfire like real close, it's coming. And we're like, oh shit, we just started like, what do we do? It's September. It's not really finished yet. And so they're like, we're just going to chop. We're just going to start chopping some shit. And cause this shit's coming. Like, we got to get out of here. Everyone's evacuating. We're like, all right, fuck, just do what you got to do. I'm not there to help. So I'm sorry, like, you got to get it safe, And that night it just came and burnt down like the entire town. like the whole shit. Like it came so fast. And I never, I'm used to hurricanes. I'm not used to wildfires. And that shit was like crazy how much damage it did. And it burnt down a lot of farms, a lot of people's homes. And that area is like pretty rural. They didn't get the assistance really they needed a lot of times. But what happened because of that, like basically Calaveras had like a land rush because everything was burnt. It was real cheap. Like the land was like, you could get an acre of land for like 20 grand. You know what I mean? In California, that was cheap. And people started coming out of the woodwork, like getting all this land. And they made a rule like, hey, if you can't prove that you've been growing before this time, like you can't grow out here. This is like some grandfathered in shit that you got to do. But if you can prove it for $5,000, we're going to give you a license. So the year after it burned down, it was 2016. I think this is when this happened. And they were like, hey, we're going to not do 99 plants. We're going to do a square footage rule. And so if you can prove you're growing before this date, and you got a plot and you guys are growing, you can do like a half acre was the max. And so we're like, oh shit, really? All right. So we just happened to luck into, growing before we got burned down, having all the pictures and receipts and shit to prove it. And we were able to pay like, a small fee and get a license to cultivate in Calaveras County. It was mostly greenhouse at the time. So we were growing outdoor and greenhouse was starting to pop. Like everyone wanted depths. They're starting to figure out what depths were. They were like, this isn't indoor? I'm like, nah, this is a greenhouse. Like we throw a tarp over this whole thing. And every day it's 7:00, we're throwing the tarp. And every day it's 7 p.m. we're taking, doing the whole thing. And rain, shine, whatever, it had to get done, like, no matter what. So that was like our life. Like we got into that grandfathered in situation. We started the, LLC and made it all official, did all the paperwork, everything. And we were like killing it with the depths. We started figuring out like OGs and if you can grow a good sun-grown OG, it's almost just as good as like an indoor look, And we started to get the Skittles at the time. Like people didn't even want the Skittles. Like they were like, that's trash. Like it smells like fruit. And I'm like, nah, like this is some real good weed. Like you got to try this. Just taste it. And some people would get onto it. And we had like the mostly just OGs. That was like OG era, like just growing sun-grown depths of OG, some sour, maybe some chem in there. And then we started to experiment with the like exotics, what we call now, like some gelatos and some fucking Skittles. And so like that was like the eye-opening experience for me to be like, all right, I've been tinkering with the weed shit. But now it's like it's a business. Like now we got a license. We're able to really like put some money behind this. I had like an investor that was an NFL player, and he believed in me and he gave me the ability to put this shit together. So I had my homies come help, and some of these boys were from Texas too, and they were fucking hardworking kids, man. And shout out to the team, bro. These guys killed it, and they were like, man, Calaveras gets hot out there. It gets hot. But these boys are from Texas, so they're like, shit ain't too bad, boss. Like, let's keep working. I'm like, damn, it's 2:00. It's getting a little too hot. Let's end it. And they're like, nah, it's not too bad. And so
like
I kind of
100 yet.
Yeah, they're like, it's only like 40% humidity. Then
I choose some cowboys out there.
Yeah, bro. So we kind of got into the whole dep game, and we were able to do really good for a couple years. And then Calaveras decided, hey, look, man, let's just ban cannabis. Fuck all these growers.
How crazy.
And let's just say fuck you to all the growers and anyone that's paid tax, which was like over $20 million at the time from these growers. And they're basically just saying like, we don't care. We're going to start over. And they kicked everyone out. And we had to stop in like 2018. But right as we're stopping, we actually filmed a movie out there on the farm. You can check it out on Amazon. Basically, it's like Uriah Faber, one of the legends in MMA.
I've seen this.
He produced it. Yeah, it's called Green Rush.
Yes.
And this shit was filmed entirely on our farm with Andre Feely, like a legendary guy in the MMA world. Some great actors in it. And it was quite a funny thing to see, like, you know what I mean? How to film like a movie and just being on the farm with all these MMA guys, I never felt so safe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to fuck with us. It's like around harvest time, you're always like, back then even, you're a little weary of who's coming around, but I got like 10 MMA guys that are just like killing it. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? Are you going to rob this place? Like, and so the whole movie is about a robbery on a farm. And it was a true story, but they kind of like Hollywoodized it from a friend of mine that lived out there in Calaveras.
How'd that come about, the movie Green Rush, with you guys involved in all that?
The kid that the real story happened to, he was the homie. And like when the real story happened, like he basically came to me and he was like, dude, you got to help me. Like some crazy shit happened. And I was like, man, what happened? Like this, what are you talking about? He looked pale. And apparently like some guys were like waiting out of his house. You know, this happens all the time in the game. Like crazy shit happens. You know what I mean? This guy's a nice guy, but he probably had the wrong person come to his house, knew where he was at, and these guys were just waiting there. And he's just looking at him like, why are these guys all out here for like a whole day? He's like, hey, man, what's good? And they just pulled a gun out and they just tried to bring him in his house. But he's an MMA fighter. And this guy was, you know, he got the cauliflower ear, everything. He just, as soon as he walked in the house, he did a little move, got the gun, and he had to shoot and keep him away, you know? And, the guys ran off, but he hit one of them, you know what I mean? And the cops came and everything, and he was good because he was protecting his house, and it wasn't his gun, like he was just protecting himself. So they kind of like made this little movie script based off of that situation, but you know, they had to like Hollywoodize a little bit. So the whole thing was filmed like in Calaveras, like right before the band and all that. And it was cool to just kind of like capture that moment in time. It's on there. And, you know, just to see how movies are made too. It was interesting.
If you're not happy with your current nutrient company, or you're not happy with how your products or flower is coming out, try Drip Hydro.
All you got to do is go to fsotd.com, get the discount code, and driphydro.com or Grow Generation stores nationwide, online or in store, we get you hooked up. You got to try Drip Hydro.
Everybody's switching to drip, and whether you want to come in store or you need a drop straight to your facility, Grow Generation can help you out there. Tell them the First Smoke family sent you and get on Drip Hydro now.
Is that how he got all the MMA fighters involved? That he was already involved in MMA? So he's like,
he was like a producer.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the guy that had the thing happen to him in real life, he was friends with Uriah. Like he already knew Uriah and stuff from like his like Team Alpha guys and stuff like that. So like they were, you know, real like MMA guys they're out of that Calaveras area. Like I think like TJ Dillashaw is from that area too. So like there's definitely a lot of like gnarly cowboy country out there. You don't want to mess around. You know what I mean? You want to have a lot of respect when you walk around those towns out there. So like when all that stuff was going on, like everybody was killing it. Like a lot of the brands that you see today, they were out there in the early days. Like I know like Chris from Exotics was out there. Like I know the Craft Farmer was out there. The Straight Organics, like a bunch of brands were really starting to like hone their skills on growing at scale in Calaveras County in that time. You know what I mean? Because it was the easiest access point. It was the first county actually to, even before Humboldt, to make that policy where it was more plants, more than 99 plants you could do square footage. So that was like a eye-opening experience. That was where I got to like kind of like cut my teeth at growing. You know what I mean? To really like see what we could do. And that was like about half-acre greenhouses. For 2 years, we ran it with like a crew of like 3 people.
Wow.
Yeah. And we built all our own greenhouses. We built everything. You know, we had early stage, like using dosatrons and using like salts. You know what I mean? People were like, oh, you can't use this 3-part. Like, this is going to be ridiculous. In a 5-gallon pot outside, in a 10-gallon pot, it's just not going to work. And we were like, all right, man, my homie that was cluing us in on this guy, he has a company called Ambrosia Cropz. So Ambrosia Cropz is a salt, you know, it's the best salt in the game, I say. And it's basically what I've always used. We kind of honed the formula on that farm. And so he was like already working in Colorado for this giant farm that was like 36 acres. And he was already dialed into like irrigation strategies and learning shit from his buddy John Slablab, who's like a legend in the game. Like John Slablab has the irrigation tech down, and he taught a lot of players in the game. He's responsible for.
He was linked up with Wizard Trees for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like this guy, he's teaching my boy Ambrosia. His strategy on a 36 acre scaled farm of outdoor and greenhouse.
36 acres.
Yeah. This was like, the biggest farm in the country at the time. I don't know. I think Glass House or someone probably beat him at this point, but it was pretty big. You know what I mean? And so these guys are from the same area in North Carolina. So they basically came out there, they started this farm, they did really well, and they sold it just in time. They sold it to Curaleaf. You know what I'm saying? But Ambrosia formed out of that. And Ambrosia is something that like we started using that same like indoor strategy in the greenhouses. All right, let's irrigate for, after the sun comes up, let's wait like an hour or two, and then let's hit it for about 2 hours, and we'll basically just like slow drip that system every 15 minutes. And let's see what happens. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, dude, they're going to dry out. Like your shit's going to be terrible. It's going to harm and it's going to stress them out. And then we realized, you know what? The sun is kind of stressing them out. Let's put a shade cloth over it and block some of the sun. And they're like, nah, like that's crazy, man. You want to get the sun. Like, we're like, nah, I think the OG's like, it likes a little less light. You know what I mean? It likes a little cooler in here. And all of a sudden, like we started to see like, damn, you can turn some really good quality in a greenhouse, as you see with like Preferred and some of these other guys that, the exotics flavors guys. Like there's some really good shit out there that's grown from the sun, and people might not even know that they're not smoking indoor. It's some really good depths. You know what I mean? And so I kind of like got clued into that whole game and seeing the business side of things, and was like, all right, man, the dep market in this area of California was just really nice, because the climates out there, the microclimates, there's so many little microclimates. The water was fresh. It was like, some of the cleanest like well water. We test our well water and all that. It was the cleanest well water sample I've ever seen. It was just like, pristine water out there. And, it was just a beautiful time to like hone your crafts, meet all these people, be able to talk about what you're doing, try new strains, and like kind of see what was really out there as well. Like besides what you were growing, like, hey, what do you guys got? Like, you know what I mean? And I remember Blackleaf from back in that era, because the Prop 215 thing, you would see it in the stores and everything like that. So, I mean, I always knew what was good. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, we would all meet up at the events and shit.
Yeah.
That's where everybody was like, opportunities to go direct to consumer.
And that's how it should
guys
be.
like Straight Organics will do $100,000 in one day.
Oh, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
We'd be like, holy fuck.
We'd be happy about the quarter of that you're like, hell yeah. And then he's like, yeah, it just showed you.
Makes sense though. He's out, they're all out there banging hard, dep style.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of product, a lot of rosin, or what was it at the time?
At the time, it was ice wax, and then rosin was starting, but it was
Shatter
a lot of ice
shit.
wax. Yeah, shatters.
Yeah, a lot of fucking live resin.
Shit, yeah.
We were doing some of that too. We were like, it was Shaman extracts, man. Shout out to Shaman.
Shout out Shaman. He's still in the game
because his shit was always the best. You know what I mean? And
kills the edibles.
Yeah, and so like we would freeze like a whole freezer and just put it in the back of the truck and take it to someone like Shaman, and we'd turn some live resin, or at the time that was what we were doing.
Yeah, heavy.
And like we'd do the vapes. Like we started to I was teamed up with these girls actually from Florida, and we had a brand called Bayflower. And so I was out of the San Francisco, and it was like women run, business. And they were on some piratey shit from Florida, and I was on my piratey shit as, pre-surfsup, always a pirate still. And they basically were like, yo, we're going to start branding your flower in these jars. And that was the first time I like even thought of like putting a name to it. You know what I mean? I had turkey bags. And
What did you think when they said that? Were you like,
I was like, that's cool for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys do that part. Like, I'll just keep growing like anonymously, and you guys, you come buy it and you put a name to it. That's cool. And I was like, you know, we were talking about the same designs and they were like involved me and everything. But at the time I wasn't even trying to put like my name to it. You know what I mean? I was still like, maybe it's not the right time. It's still early, you know? Because growing up on the East Coast and growing up in the era we grew up in, you're still like, you got a lot of shame and like paranoia and all this like brainwashing, conditioning, like still in there in the psyche. So I'm just been, you know, breaking that throughout the years, like just trying to let all that stuff go. But no, it's just, you know, it's one of those deals where it's just one of those, the healing plant that we were meant to do. You know what I mean? So it led us to certain places in life where it was just meant to be. For whatever reason, we ended up there. You know?
It connects amazing people too.
Yeah.
It really does. Some of the coolest relationships I've seen or businesses built were off of meeting about weed or through weed.
Bro, it's a beautiful community. I gotta say, like, you would think like some crazy shit would go on, you know, at some of these events and some of these things, and it's all love. You know what I mean? For the most part, it's all love. Like, you know what I mean? I've basically just been blessed to like kind of have that respect from growing up surfing. Like, you don't want to show up and come to someone's break and try to take over. Like, that's not respected. So whenever I come to someone's break, you know, throughout the years with the weed shit too, it's just like, you know, they come with the humbleness and with the respect, and, you know, it all comes back to this plant is the truth. So just be who you are.
Some peace offering, some good herb.
Yeah, hook them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, hook them up.
Way to connect and be looked at as like non-threat. Like, oh, you bring some value, you bring some.
Same as surfing.
Worth.
Surfing, like, you want people out there that got your back. You want someone that if shit hits the fan, like on a big day or something, you want someone that's really capable. You know what I mean? So you have a lot of mutual respect. But if you break that line, you cross that line, you know, in surfing, you get pounded. Like, you know what I mean? And the weed shit is, sometimes that might happen too, but we're in a different era now. You know what I mean? And so it's like, everybody just needs to kind of like realize, though, we're blessed to deal with this plant. It's not like a cool contest. It's like, yo, who has some good shit at a good rate for the community to enjoy? You know what I mean? That's basically the foundation of all this. So, you know, when I started to be like comfortable with learning how to, the Bayflower shit, putting a brand to it, I started to realize like nothing's, you know, it's not like a bad thing. It's a good thing. Like, people will start to recognize our farm's flower and ask for it and respect it, you know? And so like, I started thinking at that time, that was around like maybe 2018. I was like, okay, one day when the time's right, I'll make my brand. You know what I mean? And over the years, like, the surfing shit has been such a big part of my life, like learning lessons from the ocean. The ocean, you're out there by yourself, bro. Like, you whenever you're alone, you'll figure some shit out about yourself. You know what I mean? It's good to be alone sometimes for a minute. You know what I mean? And then the ocean, you're disconnected from land. And so you're just like out in the world, in a different world where you're not the top of the food chain either. And you start to realize how small you really are. And then you start to realize like, oh man, like, if I start thinking of all the bad shit that could happen, I'm not going to have no fun out here surfing. So you learn how to kind of control the mind a little bit. And you're like, all right, so if I'm going to have fun out here, I got to forget about everything else and just be in the moment. And that's really what the surfing lessons had taught me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, when I'm going to have my brand, I'm definitely going to incorporate surfing somehow, you know? And, but at the time I was still too scared to put anything out. I was just a ghost producer like everybody else, just turkey bagged up. And, I don't know, man, it just, about the next couple of years, like, we just kind of, when that ban happened, this is the next part of that chapter where we had to go somewhere. We got all this infrastructure. We got to even have a team. Like, where are we going to go? So luckily, we were able to get a property in Santa Cruz, you know? And so Santa Cruz was always like, I'm trying to get back there. And that Santa Cruz journey was a long time coming, because that's where it all kind of started. When I was like, you know, a young man surfing, getting the packs, everything was happening right there in Santa Cruz. So we found this dope property. It was zoned correctly. We're like, yeah, we're going to do some greenhouses out here. And we tried to go through the whole paperwork after we just had to completely like shut down everything in Calaveras. We had to start over, new county, new paperwork, They don't give a fuck about your old shit. You know what I mean? Like, even though we did have the state license, you know what I mean? And so like, we're over there at this beautiful property, and we're trying to do greenhouses, and the county's not really having it. They're just like, yo, your road needs to be like 20 feet wide, and this road is on the cliff. Like, there's no way it's going to get that wide. So it wasn't going to happen. There's a couple other things, like just ridiculous shit they make you do.
Yeah, like who needs to come up the road on the...
It had a loop that you could take another road out, but we didn't have deeded rights to take that way out, even though it had been in the community forever. Just little shit like that. It made me just kind of like getting the band and having all that stuff. I'm just like, man, I just want to grow this plant. I don't care about all this paperwork. This shit doesn't make sense. The legal side is just not working right now. It's like, I had all these people talking to me at the time, like, yo, you know, we want to invest like $20 million and do all this stuff. And I was just thinking, how am I ever going to, like, I'm going to get stuck with the bill and I can't pay you back. It's on me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be responsible for this shit. This weed shit's, I don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy out here, you know? And so I started to realize people like were coming in around 2018 and really trying to throw some money around the weed game. I'm like, man, this is wild. I'm like, I don't think this is not like how I want to do it. You know what I mean? They're like, want to pay you like a salary that's not good and expect you to grow the best shit and they'll make all the money. It's like a bad record deal. It's like you're locked into like the horrible 360 deal and you just worked so hard. And like, so I saw that as, you know, that's not what I want to do. And, you know, around that time I had a kid, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, I'd just rather just spend my time with my kid right now. Let me figure out a different way. And that's when I was like, you know what? We got to take it back to the trap. And basically we were just like, let's just kind of, you know, do some inside, you know, work and stuff like that. And that was like a real learning experience too. Just like popping seeds, finding phenos, growing with LEDs, like learning new styles, new irrigation shit, updated techniques and stuff. And just going, oh shit, like, this indoor thing is pretty fun. You know what I mean? I do get to spend a little more time with my daughter. This is pretty nice. Like, and then the pandemic hit, you know, and then all of a sudden the pandemic's up. We're just been grinding, learning, you know, greenhouse and outdoor, and now we're on indoor and we're learning like the latest techniques. This shit's turning out real fire, you know. We get the runts cut and we get those cuts, you know, back in the early days. Everyone's like fiending out for that at that time. And the pandemic hits and everything goes crazy. You know what I'm saying? The whole market shifts, like the whole world shifts.
Good time to be doing indoor.
Crazy time to be doing indoor. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And it was one of those deals where I was just like, all right, like, this is not a good time to really do anything. Let me just, you know, keep rolling. Let me hang out with my daughter and see her grow up. And that's been the best part, you know? In the pandemic, when everyone's all crazy, I look at her and she's like, what are we doing today, Dad? Like, this doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? It was a good reminder. You know, the plants always help, you know? And at the same time, we were just like kind of ready to move, you know, ready to go somewhere else. And so we're kind of like, all right, let's find a cultivation. You know what I mean? Let's find another cultivation that we can pop off and really like make put the stuff we've been pheno hunting and stuff into a production place. And so we found a spot in Santa Cruz and basically just been running that since about like 2021 and like late 2020. And man, basically we have a killer team, like people that you just really are from this culture. You know what I mean? People that really like grinded it out in the garages and the warehouses and all that stuff. And now they have like a good life, you know what I'm saying? And we're able to like see, and they're able to surf. They're still able to like go to their local beach and surf, and that's like a big part of the whole vibe of Surf's Up. You know what I mean? People really surf. The team surfs. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll go follow a hurricane and track it down and do that whole thing. And so
you still to this day have kept the surfing thing up? Yeah,
honestly, I don't surf as much because I'm just working all the time.
Yeah,
but the team surfs for sure.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And
favorite board.
Oh man, this Bonzer's right here. This Bonzer's bag right here. Mm-hmm. That's a real style of surfboard, right? It's a lot of times it's like a 70s style, you know, old school. but it's real smooth. So if you have like a big, long wall of water to ride, like riding something like that, it's like driving like a Cadillac or something, you know? It's like a whole different vibe than like the newer boards.
And then let's talk about some of these strains that you have out, because you literally have a lineup of like what, 8 to 10 strains.
Yeah, a lot of stuff comes and goes. Different. We do a lot of small batches. You know what I mean. So right now, basically, we have that's the permanent waves. Like, shout out to Blackleaf for shouting me out with that one time.
We got blessed with it by CGO. I was smoking it and I was like, dude, I gotta post this.
Bro, shout out to CGO, man.
That shit's fire.
Yeah.
Smells amazing.
That's all these hash rolls right here. CGO is rolled. We call them barrel rolls, surfsup barrel rolls. There's like 2 grams of flour.
Man, I really like that you're holding down the surf culture with weed, because anybody could agree some of the best weed that they were able to get in the early days was all from surfer homies.
For sure, bro. Especially on the
You're saying Melbourne Beach. Like, I would go to my one homie in Satellite Beach, and he always would have. That was the underworld of being connected to where it was on the hush, but surfers have always been growing for sure.
They always got the pack, man.
Fresh weed.
I always say,
this shit smells really good.
When the pack lands, surfs up, because like that was what we would always. That's how we would always say it.
We're out, boys.
We made it.
Yo, the surf's up.
I would always just talk to the homies like, how big the waves are, and like how many seconds is the period, and we would
how the waves looking, man.
Surf's up, man. The waves are up today.
Oh man, I used to have a buddy who would have where you could pull up and watch the actual break live.
Oh yeah,
he used to do that.
Sit there all day,
the time, and be like, look, because you can see it's cutting to the He would have analyzations of how it's changing and where it's going, and
the wind. You always got to check the wind and the tide. You're just checking the wind and tide all day. Just like, that's why they're smoking weed though. They're like, oh, we got to wait for the tide.
What's one of your favorite spots that you've ever surfed at?
Man, you know what? A Florida spot that I really like is, 2 spots, but New Smyrna Beach is one of the funnest spots. It's like a little skate park of waves, but you just got to watch out because there's a million sharks. That's the only thing. There's a shit ton.
There, right?
A lot of little spinner sharks, and they might bite your leg, and you're not going to die, but you're going to get fucked up for a bit, get some stitches. So New Smyrna, but I don't really like the sharks as much. So Sebastian Inlet is a very famous spot out there.
Down there.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's like
Fishing's crazy down there too.
South Florida is really clear, but it doesn't get the waves as much.
No waves.
Yeah, but really on the right day, the best spot in the whole East Coast, probably one of the best spots, is South Beach. On the right day, they get hurricanes. I'm gonna take you. You guys spend a lot of time down there, so when the waves are really good, I'm gonna tell you and be like, "Yo, check South Beach. Surf's up, bro." I'm gonna say, "Pack
down there, bro."
I'm ready to see Pack paddling out.
Hey, I'll get out there.
I know you will. That's what I'm saying.
I actually lived in New Smyrna Beach for like a year or two. My dad moved up there and shit.
You know about Sam Sula?
Yeah, of course.
Sam Sula, man. I like
boys out there growing and shit or what?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
They gotta be.
I don't know anything about it, but I do know some good boys from Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Sam Sula's like the country out there.
Bro, it's real country out there.
Ranch.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Like New Smyrna is a surf town, but it's really small actually.
It's really small.
But you go inland, you got DeLand, you got Sam Sula, you have,
What's the other side of New Smyrna? Is like Ponce Inlet?
Ponce Inlet.
And then it goes to Port Orange.
Beach. Yeah. No, that's
so much about it.
That's a good zone, bro.
I know.
My homie that surfs, he's gonna be watching this. He's definitely gonna hit me and shit and be like, "Yo, I fuck with Surf's Up, man. That shit was dope."
For real. Like I grew up surfing and traveling.
But one of my homies from New Smyrna.
But he's killing it with the bags.
Holds it down there. Yeah, I'm loving it.
That's the shit we brought out in 420. We don't even have it going anymore, but I just, got one for you.
I love it, bro. It's sick.
But yeah, that was a collab we did. And
what the hell is it?
We're out there in New York.
Blueberry?
It's basically, what do you think it is?
It's like some...
It kind of like has a blueberry, huh?
Yeah, like some blueberry cruffin or some shit.
It's Animal Mints times runts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Exotic. You're not running this no more?
Nah, we have that one, but it's just in a different bag.
Wow. Bro, this is nice.
Crazy, right?
People would assume this is sprayed.
So, but that we don't never spray our shit just straight up. But the thing is with that is actually a cut from limited trees. The homie.
Bust this open and smell it more. Bust a nug open though. Wait till you smell this.
Dude, it smells fucking sprayed.
This is beautiful.
Sure.
We definitely didn't spray. I put my hand on the Bible.
No, we know that. This is, bro, we're just saying because it smells so good, dude.
Yeah. If you grow it right, I swear. If you don't,
yeah, shout out to 325 Farms and my man Froze. Those my guys right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're basically we just tap in with the people that are tapped in. You know what I mean? Like the right players in the game. We'll do a collab.
Did you guys grow this or?
Basically, that's what I grew. Yeah.
You grew this?
Yo, shout out Limited Trees for the breeding too.
Yo, Limited
They've
Trees,
been real cool.
They're on fire, and they actually bred that and gave me that cut. They had a bunch of different cuts. I grew that batch.
Dude, this smells great, man. It really does.
No, big
dude,
it smells so crazy that I feel like.
No,
I swear to God, man, I ain't trying to play no games. Anybody that knows me will tell you.
Damn, that shit's crazy.
That's nice, man. That's like we got blessed by CGO the first time, and I was so impressed with the permanent waves
candy
that I had to post it. I was telling him, I was like, man, this shit is smoking, bro.
What inspired this bag?
Yo, we do this. So we have another brand called High Class, right? And this perfume right here is the Cocoa, we call it. It's basically just a play on like Chanel and all that kind of stuff. And that's it's a pink search. Like that one actually, we list what it is on the bag. And the strain that's in there is actually in a different bag now. You know what I'm saying? But that's the pink search that we pop from seed from like Compound. And that's a cut we call the surfsup cut. And that shit is like, it's a little different. It's not like your normal candy, but it's like got a tropicalness with some menthol.
I like how he says
I like that. Grape gas times the menthol.
Yeah, surf's up cut.
We're surf's up cut on that one.
Yeah.
It smells really good.
Yeah, and then we did a skate contest recently. So I got the skateboard bag for the skate contest we did in San Francisco at Soma Skate Park with my man Zach Woods and my man Richie. And so these guys are basically like, you know, the judges / host. And so we had some real real pro skaters from San Francisco, local boys come out, like Champelli, Fidel, a bunch of people, Bosky. These guys, they all donated boards. I had probably 20 skateboards out there. Yes. You know what I mean? And we just were like passing out, if you did a sick trick, we're like, here, come grab a bag. And I think Zach Woods had donated a Gucci watch, a fresh Gucci watch, untapped. And we basically gave him like $500 for the winner. And it was just such a good vibe in San Francisco, because that's where a lot of these brands started. That's where, for me, like coming to San Francisco, Santa Cruz, San Jose, Oakland, I was learning. That's where I was learning. So like to come back to that and be like, yo, it's a little fucked up out here right now, but we need to spread the good vibes still throughout the crazy times.
Agreed.
Because shit's not right out there.
It smells great too. Turbocharger.
That's the new shit with High Class. So I think you know my man High Class. I think you met him. He's always at the gym. So basically, that's a drop we just did, and that one is that one's actually sourced right there. That's actually sourced from the homie OG Collective, one of the best growers in the game.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Homie Sam, right?
Yeah.
That's my dog. Shout out to Sam.
Shout out to Sam, man. So we don't play no games. Like if it ain't me, I'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Got that candy.
Sam got the candy.
This is his shit.
That's his shit right there.
Shout out to the OG Collective, man.
Yeah,
I love this shit. It's a great batch, bro.
Yep. And so basically, he's like one of the few people we source from. We like to fuck with Bosky is one of the guys we're working with right now. He's fire grower and.
Fire, right?
Bro, beautiful, bro.
OG Collective.
And
I'm liking all these flavors.
This one right here, this is actually sourced through Maven. So Maven is fire.
Yeah, we got them coming through.
Maven's fire.
Shane.
Fire, bro. He's a surfer.
We got the homies coming.
Yeah. I showed him that at the Trans Bay Challenge. We talked about it. He's like, no, I always throw the shaka, bro.
He picks good, bro. His whole lineup. Funky. This is like the second or third time.
It's a white cherry gelato.
I'm fucking with everything I've smelled, bro.
Thank you, man.
A lot.
And I swear none of this shit is I don't fuck with nothing. I'm straight from the source.
No, I feel you. And that one is
I stand on that.
unbelievable blueberry smell.
No, that's
That shit's crazy.
from the limited trees, guys. They have a crazy cut.
Great breeder. Used to be behind a couple other
This smells
brands.
great. Shout out to Maven too, man. We got an episode drop on Maven. Shout out to Shane and the whole gang over there.
Yeah, we just try to like, you know.
He's definitely a surfer, homie.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
You fuck with. It's cool because your team surfers, and I can tell you're fucking with a lot of the surfers on a lot of these.
man, I'm trying to fuck with Hit Boy, man. What's up with Hit Boy? He's got the Surfer Drown albums and shit.
Oh, okay.
And so we're big on hip hop. Surfsup is like a mixture of surfing, but also like, you know, being out here, just, you know, different cities where we're at. It's a different type of culture. It's a different type of wave. Everyone's surfing, you know what I mean? So it kind of like goes hand in hand with anybody's vibe. It's some exotic destination. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way we like to look at it.
That.
So take you on a little journny for your little.
Talk about this vitamin Z.
You got to get your vitamins.
Times Dosido.
Smells great.
112.
Man,
Fire.
that's some wild shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of moonbow cuts. There's a lot of different cuts. To me, that one smells like more Skittlesy.
Yeah, this just smells
citrus.
like a Z cross with like some high C or something. Type of like orangeade, like
Yeah, all both, huh?
That was the first one that caught my eye. I was like,
It
what?
has a very orangish.
or orange terps. So this is great though. This is like a sun-kissed style Sunny D right here.
Yeah, that's some Sunny D for sure.
Sunny D Z right here. I can smell the Z2 in it though.
Yeah, the Dosi is not really. I mean, it may be the structure, but
Damn.
some of the cuts
All
are like.
these are bringing me back
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
to when I feel like you would see a lot more flavors.
That's why I try to build the foundation on. Like the permanent is like just gelato, biscotti, and sherb. Like that's basically the combo.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, I love that combo. Like biscotti's my shit. Like
Potent. A lot of people are preferential to biscotti,
a lot of people
I
don't
love
like
it too.
biscotti, bro.
but and gelato as well. I found myself loving gelato, like a good batch of gelato.
Bro,
Purple, potent, funky gas.
I'm all about it.
I'm on when the purple gas hit, like Dosido, like the NorCal cut and all that shit. My one homie from up north was dropping Dosido and gelato.
Oh yeah.
That was like, he knows I would bring bags of Dolato and Skittles, straight Z.
Smoking.
And whether it was like depth Skittles or indoor, I didn't even care because I was like, this is it. This is real smoke right here.
I mean, that's the thing is real connoisseurs. We don't care about if it's purple. Or,
Nah, it's about the
we're
taste,
just like,
the
what's
flavor.
the terps? How's it
And
smoking?
then if it's clean, if it's hitting smooth, it's,
Yeah.
you know,
How's it really
I don't want
smoking?
nothing to choke me up or grab my throat or none of that. I want to be able to deep inhale it, hold it, let it go, and then taste full flavor throughout the entire joint. To me, that's
If you can do that, you're winning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you can do that, you're winning.
and across different, like, oh, this is some gas, this is some purple, this
Yes.
is some candy, like across different, you know, nuances of, you know, profiles.
100%, man.
Killing it if you got that, and I see that in this lineup. Bro.
Yeah, I do too.
Bro, we're just trying to like, you know, we got to fill the orders. Like people want candy. You know what I'm saying? I'm all
sure.
about the candy. I like the candy too.
Yeah.
But I also try to
You're
introduce some new
keeping
flavors.
you're keeping some vibes alive though.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Some new flavors that are mixed in. They're similar but different, you know?
No, some of this smoke is, I haven't smelled like that. Vitamin Z, that's phenomenal.
Thank you,
That
bro.
is-
Some
orange
I mean,
shit, right?
I like
the first time I got the permanent waves, we get a lot of permanent marker.
Yeah.
You and I. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I hit CGO. I was like, man, this shit is smoking, bro.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he was
yeah,
like,
he
yo,
gave
that's
us
my
some.
boy, da. And it's nice to see the variation. It's not six
Yeah.
different candies. It's
Yeah.
literally 6 different, completely different flavor profile strains for every connoisseur.
Bro, that shit in the skateboard bag, that one right there is a candy pave. And that shit is different. Like it's take a whiff of that.
Bags
Yeah.
too, bro. Like
Cause this shit was my
killing it
man.
with the bag.
My man Zero Gravity, he found this one. He's out of Oakland.
Okay, yeah.
And so he's hunting phenos and shit too. And he gave us this one, and it's a candy pave. It's like an OG menthol. It's Cushman's wedding cake and pave.
Did you ever link up with Sean Cron?
Man, I never have, but he is a surfer, and you know what I'm saying? We
and
probably on
close
similar.
to Slightly Stupid.
SD.
Yeah, I just wondered. I'm like, man, you guys would.
He knows.
After this, you got to come to the family reunion in January, and you know, you guys link up for sure.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's the like breeding grounds of what we're building here as a community.
Yeah,
to keep the culture alive, keep the vibes alive, and then keep putting, you know, people from different areas and that we know would do well together. Give them a place to meet and conversate and put a face with a name, shake hands, and then build a relationship from there. That's what it's all about.
Man, I always thought oh man, it'd be so awesome if we could just like get together and kind of like tell our tales, because this shit is like trap therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
modern day prohibition for our era of weed culture.
It really is, man. And so like I feel like we were just like thinking this idea, me and the homie, and then I was like, let me see if anyone has like a good, you know, podcast like this. And you guys were just like started out, you know, and that shit has blown up, you know what I mean? So I love to see any business that like kind of just starts from nothing and builds something unique and does it for themselves. So much respect to y'all guys.
Much love to you, bro, for staying true to your identity.
Yeah.
Living out your brand.
Yeah.
Empowering people around you and just being willing to invest in yourself and getting your story out there, because I guarantee you now that people know what surfsup's all about. This has got to go on the shelves next. This has got to go everywhere next. You got to take this shit global, bro.
Yeah, that's the plan.
I mean, our one of our partners is doing a growth story just in Costa Rica. I mean, just all over the world.
Shout out Organic Roots.
Yo, that's it, man. Like I started out, I've been in the grow room for so I was on my endless summer for about 7 years. Then I was in the grow room or on the hill for about 7 years, you know? And so that was like,
that's a tough transition,
that's how it is, bro. I couldn't have been on the hill for that long or in the room that long without the previous life of doing all that other stuff.
You went from straight freedom to
you're
locked in. Fucking A.
You're in trim jail for a long time.
You know what I mean? You know how we knew he was a caring person and it transfers to the plant? Surfsup brought massive plates of home cooked food.
Oh man,
behind the scenes.
This dude
for
is
us.
one of a kind, man.
We really breed, bro.
From the southeast, man.
The South's different, man. Like shout out to Texas, man. It's a beautiful vibe down here, man. Like, and so like we just really love like the whole energy out here.
Mm-hmm. You know South, genuine.
Yeah,
you know, Southern comfort.
Exactly, man.
And keep doing what you're doing, bro, because all these different nuances and flavors and the way you're doing these bags. This is so fun just to see this.
I just like having fun with it.
Yeah, bro. Like this is, I haven't seen anything like this, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
You're in a dope lane and everyone can relate to the surfer homies always having great weed, bro.
Yeah.
Always. And that
they do, man.
Surfers worldwide.
We'll see.
Surfers worldwide. Yeah, I don't think they get enough credit for always keeping the weed alive. Just always knowing, you know, either how to source it or how to, you know, come up with it themselves and then bless the people that even weren't in the surf world, you know, they didn't just keep it to themselves and shit. And it's always been cool to know some cool surfers homies that'll get you hooked up, man. Those were my beginning days for sure.
Yeah.
I literally come from those areas where you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to sit here and reminisce and know that
we were living that life parallel.
Bro, I haven't seen a lot of people do this play and do these different things. And then I actually open up the bags and I'm vibing to all these different flavors.
Yeah. Try to match the flavor with the bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it says a lot and it shows a lot about your character and what you're going to continue to do. I think you got a bright future, bro. And I think you got a hell of a brand here.
Thank you, brother. Nah, this is something it's like I've been telling you, like it's taken so long to get to this point, like wildfires and county bans and all this shit. If you really are about that life, like you're not going to quit. Like this is just what you got to do. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And so for me, it's been that way. Like I just started out with, you know, a couple plants in Puerto Rico and that kind of thing. And then it turns into something where it's like, you know, provided me with a beautiful existence. You know what I mean? So I just kind of always try to keep it like that and just appreciate, like have fun with it, not take it too serious. Like this shit is just a blessing. Like to even have good weed in your town, you're blessed. Like these kids act like it's a fucking right now, you know, it's a rite of passage. They have to have it. And you're like, chill out, bro. Like you don't understand what really went in to all the work, like for any farmer.
even just to remember what a drought was like, that shit is a thing of the past now. And
Yeah.
people got so many fucking options. It's causing mass consumer confusion. And you're right. You should appreciate just having some fresh quality herb.
Like if you're getting a fresh bag for a decent price in your hometown and you didn't have to risk anything, like, man, just be blessed, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Just chill out. It's just some weed. Like, you know what I mean? If it's not the best batch ever, you don't have to get that one. You know what I mean? But people have this sort of like attitudes nowadays and stuff with like the Instagram, Telegram world where it's like, they deserve it. You know what I mean? It's like any farmer worked super hard to get the food on your plate, to do all this stuff, but they ain't getting no respect. You know what I mean? So
Right
like
about that, bro.
So like I kind of always try to, this is like a brand of cultivators. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we really grow. We really try to find new flavors. We really try to do something that's like similar but different. And like that's basically how surfsup's gonna be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that's what we stand on.
I mean, you're doing that and more. And as I'm looking through all these flavors and seeing your bags and then get to hear your story, you got one hell of a story, bro.
Yeah, you do.
I'm telling you, man, I never told it to nobody.
When we were talking
I couldn't.
before we did this and you were kind of giving me the backstory and why this would be a good situation. You had me at Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and then North Carolina, Outer Banks and shit. And I was like, bro, this is going to be a hell of a story.
Yeah.
And we get to link up and stuff, and I put a face to a name and shit. Now we're locked in, man. Now you're a part of the family. You're part
Thank you, man.
You've been a part of the community, but what we're doing here is
it's a blessing
able
too.
to put the brand story with the founder and let people get to know the brand a little more for what it really stands for, what it really comes from.
Yeah.
And this is genuine and authentic. Some people just throw some shit on a bag and they're trying to make a few bucks. That's not what's happening here. And this is what we're all about. We can back this type of brand 100%. And I can say, surfsup is 100% authentic, 100% genuine. And they got all quality fucking products.
Thank you, man.
I'm digging everything you guys got going on for real.
Thank you,
really
brother.
dope to see.
And the hospitality and the energy you carry, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like, you know what I mean? I just try to like do kind by how people I want to treat, be treated.
You
like
could feel it right away.
However you trying to like, whatever energy you're going to put out, I'll give it right back. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a very like humble person, but it's sometimes like people try to think kindness is a weakness. And you know what I mean? I've been through the ringer, you know what I'm saying? Cause I'm a very kind person.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like I always like try to collab with people, do new shit. And like, sometimes it don't work out and sometimes it does. Like this fire marshal bill shit, this bag right here is ridiculous. It's basically my friend, this a real firefighter for years and years and years. You know what I'm saying? And he has a brand in New York, and that's our little collab with the old In Living Color Jim Carrey character.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's cool how
another one,
a lot
just
of
having
these
fun with it. Like it's some real life shit.
organic.
He's just
You
a
knew the guy.
firefighter, so hey, let me show you something. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
This is one of the original Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, this was Jim Carrey before Jim Carrey.
So that Jim Carrey one is it's a red runts.
Ooh.
So it's kind of gas, so like fire gas. I feel like it's got like
I like it a lot, bro.
But yeah, that
Keeping the vibes alive and just seeing the nuances in this lineup is really dope to see.
these are just like the homies. You know what I'm saying? So we're just
You
trying
named
to,
so many people too that we fuck with heavy.
yeah.
It just shows your character that
I search
good
it out.
people know good people.
I search
And-
these people out, man. I look for them, and I know that when the energy's right, you can tell. In this game, you've been in it long enough. You can tell if it's not right.
I like this no feeling season.
Yeah, that's his brand, and he's like he does like clothes and everything, and he's also a firefighter.
I like how organic this is, and I like how organic this show came about where we're filming. Fresco Love in Houston.
Yeah.
We all met at the pop-up.
Yeah.
We literally were going to film it at a random place, and it's like all this came about, and now we're in this sick spot in the middle of Houston in one of the dopest areas, filming with you, and now you guys linked up, and who knows what spawns from that, but
shout out to Little Mexico, man.
And it's all because of the plant we're talking about today, man.
That brings so many people together, you know what I mean?
Especially while traveling to new places and stuff like that.
It's a community.
The fact that you like weed and you surf and you go to these places where no one knows you.
Yeah.
Weed is the
you got a community there.
Weed is the common denominator that is going to bring people together and allow you to have that commonality so you can build a relationship, connect, conversate. And a lot of it is just the whole basis of this show, that first smoke of the day, you tend to have a really good connecting, curated conversation that allows you to put differences to the side and get to know each other on a deeper level so that you can feel trust, you can feel, connection, and you can feel like, hey, we come from two different places, but we're both sharing this right here.
Yeah.
It's like a ceremonial thing. It's this plant is a medicine for real. And it brings communities together no matter what your background is, no matter where you come from. None of that shit matters when you have the plant. And it's really dope, man. So we're happy to be able to spend this time, and we're happy to be able to connect over this, especially in Houston, bro.
For sure, man. We're just gonna, keep building, and we'll see like what happens. You know what I mean? I'm just having fun with the experience. We're launching, in California, like all over in the next couple months.
Fire.
So this is something that it was like the perfect timing to just, all right, let's tell the story and let's put it out there and let's see what happens.
Shells, man.
Bro,
smoke. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're ready,
I'm
bro.
all about it.
Where are people going to be able to find you? Like, how do people check out the flavors, look at what's up?
Basically, we got some QR codes on some of the bags, but we also have, the Instagrams. It's basically surfsup exotics. No misspellings. There's a couple fake ones.
Surfsup Exotic.
At surfsup exotics, spelled correctly. And then also at highclass_US.
Yep.
And High Class is my man. He's basically my protege. He's a young man that just is, he basically told me he didn't want to go to school. And I said, boy, you better get in school. He said, I'm not going. After a couple of weeks, I said, you really not going? All right, we got to show you the right way, because there's an ethic to the game. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain ethic that you have to deal with especially with farmers, especially, as a young man talking with, 35-year-old farmers. There's a certain thing you got to do, You got
to show some respect.
And he's definitely a great protege, and he's a very fast learner, and he's got a really like educated palate for a young man. You know what I mean? So he basically has his brand, and we do collabs like all these bags right here, the perfume, the vitamin Z. It's just collabs, just to connect the circle. Connect the whole circle, bring everything together. And it's like, everybody wants to have their bags. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to have their brand. Let's figure out a way to make it work. So we're all about that.
It's cool to collab with the bags. It's allowed cannabis creators now to come together and build something.
Yeah.
A wave, right?
It's
like
literally
you guys
a wave.
like Surfsup would say is you build up a wave by coming together, and the bag is the perfect platform to just showcase different creative abilities and different things that, you guys are liking. Like, this is what we're smoking on. So check this out, and it's cool because as I'm checking out all your bags, it's all a little something different.
Yeah. We try to have a different wave. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Max B, you know what I mean? Yeah. The wave god. Max B is Max B.
I like how you go from surf to hip hop, like hard hip hop too. Like,
if you know anything about Max B, he's the wave god, and you know what I mean. You don't want to do the same thing as everyone else. Yeah. Surfing's the same way. Like, you don't want to ride everyone's wave.
You want to be a kook.
You don't want to be a kook, bro. Like, get out of the way.
You need to make a kook bag.
It's my wave. Let me ride it. I've been working 15 years on this shit,
Yeah, Kooks of the Day.
Kooks of the Day is the best.
That's a great interview.
I'll be reposting that kind of stuff, saying, when the surf's up hits, or, something like after you smoke the surf's up, and got some funny surf videos, and just have fun with that shit. You know what I mean?
That's what it's about.
Fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah, but we'll be out there in the markets in California, at least, basically in the next couple months. On a bunch of different shelves. We got some good things in the works.
What flavors are dropping?
Basically, a lot of candies right now.
That's what they want.
In the near future, we got some candies, but it's mostly something a little more unique. Like, there's a lot of little runs crosses.
I like the vitamin Z.
Oh,
I think that would do well.
Oh, we can make that one work for sure. Like I think in the retail market, it's like people just want something different. And
They do want the different stuff. It's not
this everyday candy.
Like the streets at all. I mean, they like candy, don't get it wrong, but like they also want to see something
variety.
That's orange, something that's grape, something that's, you know, different little things that might bring them back. You know, it's a lot of middle-aged consumers in the retail market, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I like too. I like to try different shit. I don't want to smoke the same thing all the time, but
that's the beauty of cannabis.
Customer wants what they want.
Losing that art a little bit because everyone's trying to survive, and I get it.
Yeah,
but we need to educate consumers more.
For sure,
especially the new consumers that before it wasn't an option for them because they're like, man, my job or, you know, my parents or whatever it was, right? My religion, whatever it was. Now it's kind of opening up.
For sure.
People are like, dude, it's not that big of a deal, but they don't know what's good. So, you know, we're here to clarify that and kind of co-sign the right people and navigate them to maybe find it their wave, you know what I mean? And
that's it. Everyone has the wave to ride. There's waves for all
Don't
of us.
play with Pac.
Figure out what board they want to ride the wave on.
Hey, bro, there's waves for all of us out here. You know what I mean? Just like figure out your path and it's,
we gotta set up a like a surf trip or some shit.
So here's an idea. Just throw it out there. The Texas Surf Tour, because people don't know there's waves in Texas.
Is there really? I was gonna ask.
I did not know.
So look, there's a wave park in Waco, Texas, and it has waves all year. It's just a wave pool that makes perfect waves.
I've
heard of that.
So I don't know how we could just book this place out or something.
That would be fire.
Like,
super down.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But you know what? We'll reach out. We'll make some posts and shit. Let's book out the wave park in Waco, Texas. If you're down to do this, DM us on first.
Please let us know.
And just say surfsup Texas. And let's talk about how we could book out the Waco surf park.
Can I body surf?
Yeah, bro.
I'm gonna surf on you, dude.
Damn,
like,
dude.
Take Biggs as a board.
As long as I can smoke a
like
joint.
that Cadillac he was talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, driving that Monster.
No,
Bro,
for
so
sure though. We'll
out
put you
here-
out there on a lawnmower and see if you can get up.
I'm ready, bro. I'm born on the east coast of Florida.
start hitting
These
them
guys can
check-ins.
surf, man. I already know. That's why we're vibing.
I
It's
can't
like,
wait.
You know?
I can't wait.
So like there's also this shit out here that you could do, and I gotta get like somebody if they want to, donate a boat and know the route. They surf the wake from the tankers, the oil tankers, these big ass ships.
Shit.
They come in with a wake and they make little waves, and it's on like some old movies and stuff. Like they'll follow them around with a jet ski or boat.
Yeah.
And so that would be some
We
classic
surf
shit
all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as surfing.
It's kind of similar, but this is like
Yeah.
a wake that just ends and like the boat's gone or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I think we should get the Waco Surf Park and do some type of event. Get a bunch of the homies together.
That would
There's
be
so many
sick.
surfers. Names are popping in my
There's
head
a
left
Kelly
and right.
Slater
That are people
surf
that would
park too.
Yeah, where's that at?
in California.
See, we did research.
definitely
though.
rent that.
You can rent it, or is it invitation?
You can rent it out.
You sure?
I know
Yeah.
you can rent it out.
We got to rent that. We got to do that.
Yeah.
He brought it up to me.
Yeah.
You know who's also a surfer? Miami Mango.
Yep.
I swear he posts photos dropping 8 to 12 foot barrels.
big-
No, Miami Mango's a real.
He was like getting after
There's
it.
a lot, man. A lot of people grew up surfing and smoking weed, and that was their first connections with the plant. And them realizing, I'm gonna keep doing this.
It was like the surfing thing where you're kind of like outcast back in the day too already. You know what I mean? And skaters and surfers weren't as trendy as it is now. So
Skaters and surfers were the first dudes I knew that would go surf or skate before school, get high as fuck, then come to school, and I'd be like, "Yo, guys," I'm like, "Dude, bro,
bloodshot.
you guys fucking did that, huh?" Like they'd be coming in like.
Because when you surf, your eyes are already going to get bloodshot from the
as
salt
fuck.
water.
Good
Yeah,
excuse.
and then you're smoking too.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids in our school would do that shit. Like I think I started smoking like about 13, like 7th, 8th
What was your
grade.
first time smoking weed?
Bro, it was like 7th. I think it was 7th grade. And my friend on the bus was like, "Yo, we're gonna go smoke some weed." And I'm like, "All right, we're smoking weed now. All right, you know what I mean? I'm cool. I'm trying to be cool with a kid that's older than me." And we get out and we smoke the dirtiest weed out of like basically something you put like a compressor into, like the little metal piece for a compressor. Like that was a bowl like that we somehow made, and this shit was terrible. It was like Mexi brick, and we just got like a headache, I think, and we were like playing basketball. Like I'm so high, but I didn't really like that experience as much. So like maybe I like the next year or two, I like tried some better weed and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And then once I got the Ganny, I was like, oh shit, I like this feeling. Like this is where I didn't like the Beasters. I didn't like any of the mids. And we had this shit called the Shorty Bud that was pretty good. It was like the Zona. It was like the Arizona. But not I think the first time, like it was not that good of experience, but by about 16, 17, I was loving the Ganny. And so we were just smoking and surfing, joking around at school. I was always a good student and shit, but I just never like thought school was going to like get me where I needed to go. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not. It's the biggest gimmick in the game.
I graduated like a year early. Like I was just like, I got all my credits. I'm like, I'm just working. You know what I mean? And then I went to the massage school. But everyone in massage school is smoking weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the whole journey, like weed was just always there, like as part of the culture, you know? And like, you know, shout out to moms. Moms will smoke one with me sometimes, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So
that makes it easier.
Yeah. So, you know, little family reunions and stuff, it's all good. But I feel like everyone in our community and stuff, a lot of people always smoke, but the surf community kind of keeps it on the hush. The skate community kind of like puts the shit more on blast,
like,
maybe.
Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like cooler.
Skaters are fucking crazy.
Skaters are cooler to like talk about the weed shit. The surfers are kind of like, let's not talk about it too much. Like we're getting these sponsors and stuff like that.
They really had grows and all that shit. They're trying to keep it way more.
Yeah,
the old heads they'll train you like that. He'd be like, yo,
that's how I was trained.
Smoking shit, but keep that shit on the low. You know, don't trip on it. Don't be telling everybody fucking you got the weed.
So that's why this is crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like to grow up in that era, now we're in this era. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just let them know what's good. You know what I mean? Because for me, growing up, that was like ridiculous. Like, why would you ever tell people what you're doing? You know? So
fact. Now this is a real business.
Yeah, this is a real business, and
prohibition's here. You're going on the shelves. It's time to step out, and you obviously got the flavors, you got the brand.
Before it's too late,
it out.
Let's put it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all got to come together too.
Yeah,
we all got to come together because, big company culture and all that type of shit doesn't exist. Like, there's no people. It's every person for themselves, really. And so, you got to get all the grassroots people together to come together and stay together so that we can, keep some good weed around and stay in touch with the roots of Crippie and Ganny and all this type of shit that started all this, that really has different nuances of flavors and benefits and things that go on down the line, so that it doesn't just end up all feeling like the same shit or cheaping out and being a experience that people are like, man, I can't believe you're like, why would you want to smoke weed? It sucks. We gotta keep it away from that.
Yeah. It's getting, a little ridiculous sometimes right now, but I feel like there's definitely a clash where people are like, I don't want that candy like infused, or I don't want this. I want like a sour diesel or an OG or a Gorilla Glue, or people have been asking for, especially in Texas, they're like, I like the Gorilla Glue. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, cool. So like, there's definitely like different profiles happening with different age groups and different communities. And I try to like hit a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? But you're never gonna please everybody with the weed. You gotta accept that. And at the end of the day, just have fun with it. Like I'm saying, just have fun with the shit. If somebody's gonna like what they're gonna like, I just kind of do what was true to me. And as long as I do that, I know I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, man.
One thing I know, when the pack lands, surf's up.
That's what I'm saying, baby.
I like that. The brand's got a lot of legs, and you'll keep running with it, man.
Cheers,
Shout out to you, bro.
Yeah.
Any shout outs?
Man, I got a lot of shout outs to the team, to the family. You know what I'm saying? My wife's a legend. You know what I'm saying? She's fucking legendary, and she made all this food and stuff. And basically, shout out to just working hard, bro. Shout out to everybody that's working hard. If you keep working hard, you're passionate, you're doing what you really are like in alignment with, the universe is aligning. It's going to help you if you keep working at it. That's how I feel now. You know what I mean? This is just a little blessing. Like, been working hard, like traveling all over. Now's a beautiful time. We were able to sit down and just tell what's going on, and hopefully people want to fuck with it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate you, man. And if you work hard, the surf's definitely gonna stay up.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
That's all you got to do. The earth's gonna do what it's gonna do.
For real.
You just ride the wave. It might be on a skateboard.
Ride the wave. You better not. You got to know when to get on the wave and off the wave.
Definitely
Avoid the wipe out.
You got to be careful because you will wipe out. It's
It's the hardest thing paddling out.
You get sitting straight to Pound Town.
You know what? Paddling out is hard, but I feel like the hardest thing is just like knowing where to be on the wave if you're like not used to it, especially. And that's like just, everything. If you don't know where to paddle into the wave at, which is a good metaphor for life, then you're basically, you're fucked from the start.
You know what I like about surfing? It's one of the last things that you can do where you're totally disconnected from the phone.
Completely with the phone. Like
there's no phone.
People get mad because you'll be gone for 2-3 hours and you're like, what the fuck?
Doing?
Yeah. Completely lost deals like that before.
It's true though. It's
like, what's going on?
When you were saying, you realize how small we really are and how you're not like the top of the food chain anymore. Like you're just
shark could eat you.
Board.
Right.
Yeah, you're on a fucking board and you're in the ocean, which is massive.
The Pacific is gnarly. Like the East Coast, I like it. It's like safer. You know what I mean? It feels like you're not gonna get bit by a shark. But in Santa Cruz, there's fucking sharks, man.
I mean, fucking great white settles.
People get eaten like every year. Like there's somebody that gets eaten. Like you know what I mean?
Horrible way to go.
Yeah, so that's for real.
There's no phones.
Exactly.
And that is, man, the true disconnecting factor of there's really no place or no thing you can do without the phone running your fucking life. But when you're surfing, there's no option to have a phone on you.
Bro, as crazy as it sounds, in Santa Cruz, I've seen somebody with a goddamn phone out there.
You can, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, my God.
At the end of the day,
that's the worst thing
no
you
one's
can do
really
in Santa Cruz. You get beat up for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a kook move, bro.
Yeah, that's some kook shit.
That's some kook
He's
shit.
like just out here chilling,
Leave the fucking phone
on his phone. Hey, man.
It's not that important.
Bro, you're going to get it definitely paddle over and dunk that shit and be like, yo, stay off their fucking phone.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a new phone.
The whole point of going out there is to, just be one with the world and
that's the thing, man. If you're really out there, you got to like really think about certain things, you know what I mean? And it kind of disconnects you with the daily like monotony of the TV and the everything that we're getting hit with. And surfing's just one of those like releases, you know what I mean? Swimming, just being in the ocean in general, by the ocean, just near the ocean, just looking at it, you feel like a different vibe,
Absolutely.
So like the surfsup vibe is like a little more tropical, like relax, have a good time. Like, you know what I mean? It's not too like hard. It's not too soft. It's just like a nice little wave. Want to ride it? Here it is. You know what I mean?
I know if I'm in Texas, I'm definitely looking for some flavors.
Well, here you go.
Same with Cali.
The surfsup, it's cool. You'll be able to go grab surfsup and then go get your surf up.
So here's the deal.
Coming to Cali.
Other thing is, grew up near Virginia Beach. So Pharrell, the legendary guy, out of Virginia Beach, is building a wave park out there. Oh, so shit. Just like they have in Waco, they're going to have in Virginia Beach. So Virginia's legal. They got their shit. They just don't have any stores yet. So Virginia, when the time's right, surf's up, baby. We out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to the 757, man. Everybody out there.
Hey, there's a lot of people that's sleeping on Virginia.
Bro,
they're in the DMs all the time.
It's a Bay Area, but it's the Chesapeake Bay.
I like that.
And there's 7 cities around it.
I like that.
And it's a beautiful location. You know what I'm saying?
Stock just went up in Virginia, big
dog.
Yeah. For real. I can already see a strain release at the park.
Yeah, man. We definitely
tie into the surf world because
skating and surfing, that's our shit.
Needs to happen more.
Bro, we're down to do some shit. I'd love to talk more after this. We'll figure out a way to do something like Kelly Slater's Wave Park or something like that.
Nah, for real. And, the man himself is the GOAT. Cocoa Beach, baby.
I know. Legendary. I got to meet him one time in Bali, Indonesia.
I guarantee he smokes,
Yeah.
Maybe.
I feel like Slater.
He definitely used to.
I feel like Slater, he probably does. My guess would he probably does, but he's probably like, he's more like controlled, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's very like
he's dialed in. I mean,
yeah, he's not like going excessive with anything, you know what I mean?
He's dialed in.
But I'm sure he's enjoying his cannabis, you know what I mean?
Like maybe his
days got the fire.
Pamela Anderson, he was definitely smoking.
He probably had the fire, bro. He's the best surfer. He got the best weed, you know what I'm saying? But Rob Machado, shout out to Rob Machado and Kalani Rob.
Yeah.
2 different guys, but they always looked like they were having a good time with the weed.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
And so all those like surfers kind of, that's how we grew up in like the punk rock era and, you know, like Wu-Tang and hip hop and underground and shit like that. It was just like an infusion of my life. So I'm just telling my life, you know what I mean? Through the bags. That's all it is.
Bro. Shit. Keep it popping, man. And
thank you.
You know what it is. It's my man Ellie from Surfsup. It's first smoke of the day. We're out here in H-Town laying it down. It's a Texas thing right now. And keep an eye out for the product to hit the shop soon in Cali. And until then, surf's up.
Surf's up, man.
You guys.
Smoking.
Peace.
Hey, stop. Before you leave, roll up another one. We got more episodes just like this. Click right here.